Hello, my name is Hannah and I would like to give a little bit of background information about the simulation. This simulation is based on the company called Minnesota Micromotors. It is a company based in Minneapolis and it was a manufacturer of brushless direct current motors used in orthopedic medical devices. These motors were used typically by orthopedic surgeons in large bone surgery, reconstructive surgery, trauma surgery, and sports medicine procedures. Micro Motors sold approximately 97,000 motors a year and had a 9% share of the 137 million U.S. medical motor market for orthopedic and neurosurgery devices. This company focuses on three primary criteria that the groups look for when purchasing the product. The first criteria is thermal heat resistance. This is a common cause of motor failure. And then the other one is power to size, which is the ratio of torque delivered to the size of the motor. And it was higher in brush motors than the BLDC motors. And another factor is cost. None of the segments are price sensitive except segment D. Studies show that 70% of the Minnesota Micromotors revenues were generated from customers that placed large volume orders. The customers that placed the large volume orders were divided into 4 segments that are named A, B, C, and D. Segment A was placed a premium on the motor's power to size ratio and required a high level of sales support. Group A is the primary loyal customer of the customer. And then we have Group B, which is the competitor, and it was placed a premium on the motor's thermal resistance performance and a highly valued to the market. It had just under 8% of the company's revenue and a market share of 4%. Segment C is the least price sensitive of the large volume customers. The motors of this group are based on thermal resistance and the power to size ratio. This segment made 7% of Micromotors' dollar revenue and its market share was also 4%. And segment D is the fourth one and it is very price sensitive. And then we have a small volume purchase group that usually buy off the shelf motors from a distributor's catalog, but they almost make 29% of the revenue and have a market share of 11%. So now that you know a little bit about the company and the segments, I would like to show the segments. On right here is the first page and it's a dashboard overview. You have your market share with all your groups of what the percents they are of selling. Your segment share with the orange being Micromotor and the blue is the competitive. You have your quarter revenue, your unit sales, and then you have your profit margin, average price, and spending on features. The next group you have is net prices. So the net prices shows each group and what they're selling. The dark blue is Micromotor, so you can see that there's increase in sales almost every time. And then another segment is customer purchase. This just shows what each group of segment buys from the Micromotors on their sales. And then the next group is sales, so you can see that on the large customers every quarter the sales amount went up, and the dark orange is existing customers and this lighter orange is the new customers. So you can see that new customers are starting to buy the product as well. In the income statement, you can see, you can mark, it'll show you like each quarter's revenue. So it shows you total revenue, total cost of goods sold, your margins, and then the different expenses groups are breakdown right here. So then you have a total expense and then your net income, and then you can see the profit. So at the end of quarter 4 in 2015, we were almost at 9.7 million for this company. So you can see that the profit is going up every single quarter, which is what you want to see. Another bracket that this simulation shows is the market share by segment, which is market research. So if you watch as the numbers grow right here, you're putting more and more into the market research, so you're competitive on your product because you know what is out there in the market and what you have to do to compete with your competitors to make your product better than what theirs is. And it also breaks it down by power to size and then thermal resistance as well. So it's not just the overall product, you can see each segment of the important criteria that the segments are looking for. Then you have product performance, and this just shows that as the quarters go on, your product gets better. So the dark blue again is the micromotor, so you're constantly getting a better product to get more customers and for them to spend more on your product, whereas on this one you see that the competitors is going down. Customer satisfaction is also very important. You want your customers to be satisfied with the product or they're not going to come back and buy from you. So you can see that the segment B was dissatisfied in this particular simulation only because they wanted more customer service. So this would be easy to improve just by making a sales rep just for them. But in this certain simulation, we're more focused on our new customers and our loyal customers rather than our competitors. But like our loyal customers are very satisfied, our new customers are very satisfied, our price sensitive customers are satisfied, and our small customers are very satisfied. So in overall, that's a good ratio for the customers. And then here's the sales force. It's 4 hours per segment by percent here, and then quality of sales rep, which also is just spending more time with these groups than with A, so you can average it out to make the different segments more equal. So now I'm going to explain like the different my market strategy on how I got to the 9.6 million through the different quarters. So as you can see, I started with a lower price. Let's see. So I started at 144, and then I kind of kept the price the same so that I could build the relationship with the customer, because that's the most important. You got to build their customer. And then the percent on large customer was 80%, and then after time I increased the percent to 85 to show that the large customers are more important because they spend more money than the smaller customers. So then on this is the different discounts right here. You can see that Group A doesn't really care about discounts, but they're loyal customers, so we want to give them a discount. So that's why they're 8%. Group B is the competitor, and they don't really care about price, so it's only 4. And then the C don't care at all, so they have 0. But the segment D is the one that is very price sensitive, so I gave them 20% because that's the max of what you can do. And then here is different amounts that you spend on the customers. So you spend more on the large customers, the 280,000, as opposed to the 70,000, because they're going to be spending more than the smaller customers. In the sales force, I only did 7 employees because that way the cost of labor is down, but also you can have 7 strong employees to market your product. And then down here you can just see the different ratios of power to size and thermal resistance that increases slowly over the time, because as the more customers buy, you have to increase your product if you're going to increase your price, or the product isn't going to be worth what the price is if you don't increase the product as well. You have to have a balance there. So at the end you have $340,000 remaining budget, but your income statement is 9.6